This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. Here's a BNC exclusive before we begin. Armed Forces Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. is reported to be taking charge of Vice President Sara Duterte's security group after she allegedly received threats to her life. This is according to a reliable source. Bronner will head the Vice Presidential Security and Protection Group, or VPSPG, a specialized unit responsible for ensuring the safety and security of the Vice President. This comes after Duterte's initial remark on contracting a hitman to target President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., his wife, and Speaker Martin Romualdez if she is killed. This is a developing story still. On the Scorecard tonight, some injured players return to action in today's NBA games. Fil-Brit Marcus Smith keys England's victory in the autumn series. And we'll be joined by the versatile Chris Newsome in studio. All that and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 26th of November. Now, here's our roundup. In the NBA, Kristaps Porzingis debuted for the Boston Celtics, and already fans are kidding about booking hotels in the Massachusetts capital for June, and with a good reason. He started strong in his scoring debut or season debut, scoring Boston's first basket and attempting 4 3-pointers in the first 4 minutes. The defending champions won over the Los Angeles Clippers 126-94. Returning after a 5-month recovery from ankle surgery, Porzingis contributed 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 23 minutes. The Celtics are currently 14-3 and second in the Eastern Conference. The Golden State Warriors lost 128-120 in the Brooklyn Nets, or to the Brooklyn Nets at home. And Dub Nation is furious. Golden State was leading by 18 points in the third quarter when Coach Steve Kerr benched Steph Curry for 9 critical minutes. Brooklyn's wingman Cam Johnson left the game with an ankle sprain early on. Despite this and the absence of several key players, the Nets overcame the deficit with a strong fourth quarter performance, outscoring the Warriors 41-28. Dennis Schroeder led the Nets with 31 points and 7 assists, as Coach Jordi Fernandez praised his team's effort while highlighting contributions from players like Tyrese Martin and Keon Johnson. Now, as we look at other results today, Harrison Barnes has been named the NBA's Western Conference Player of the Week after averaging 22.3 points and 8.7 rebounds with over 60% shooting in 3 wins for the Spurs. In the Eastern Conference, Giannis Antetokounmpo received the same distinction after leading the Milwaukee Bucks to a perfect 4-0 record in Week 5. By the way, Ja Morant dropped 22 points and dished 11 assists in his own return from injury land as the Memphis Grizzlies dumped on the Portland Trail Blazers 123-98. The electrifyingly reckless Morant missed 8 games due to a hip injury. Formula One fans woke up today with exciting news. A quote agreement, in principle, unquote, for the expansion of the grid to 11 teams starting 2026. General Motors partnered with Cadillac to introduce a new team, and Formula One is now ready to move forward with GM's application process. This decision concludes a long legal battle over the inclusion of Michael Andretti's team, reportedly partly because of Liberty Media CEO Greg Maffei's personal dislike for Michael Andretti. Liberty Media is F1's commercial rights holder, and Maffei will leave the position of CEO by the end of the year. The Cadillac F1 team, led by Dan Tauris and Mark Walter, will use Ferrari engines initially, before transitioning to Cadillac engines by 2028. The team aims to showcase American innovation and racing excellence. Michael Andretti will not hold an official position, but his father Mario will serve as an ambassador. This expansion, Formula One's first since 2010, reflects a significant shift, making way for more American presence in F1. In his 7th consecutive start for England, Fil-Brit fly-half Marcus Smith converted 7 tries as England ended a sad run of 5 consecutive defeats with a commanding 59-14 victory over Japan at Twickenham. Critics noted the low quality of the opposition and England's defensive lapses, but the young team showed remarkable improvement under coach Steve Borthwick. England's forwards dominated, particularly in scrums and mauls, in the match that concluded England's autumn series on a high note. Smith hopes to carry the positive momentum into the Six Nations as he impressed even opposing coach Eddie Jones with his competent decision-making.
Yeah, it was thoroughly enjoyable. It's always a special feeling when you get to play at home in front of our fans who've supported us through thick and thin the last few weeks. Haven't been easy. A lot of reflections, a lot of learnings, but it's always nice to win, to finish with a win.
Well, was today's game about those things, or was it just about going out, last game of the series, having a good time? You're playing a lesser opposition than you've faced so far this autumn. Was it about expressing yourselves a bit, scoring a load of tries?
Yeah, I think that was the message across the whole of the autumn. Obviously, it didn't go the way we exactly wanted, but we've definitely taken some massive learnings moving forward, especially in terms of closing games out. We've tried to rep it as much as we can in training. So yeah, hopefully it comes to fruition in the Six Nations, whoever's selected there.
Energy Laure, better known by her nickname EJ, has joined the next-led Chameleons for the 2024-25 PVL All-Filipino Conference and is a game-time decision today against her former team. Laure parted ways with the Cherry Tigo Crossovers where she played for the past 8 years. The Chameleons hope to strengthen their team with Laure initially as support for leading scorer Kiara Permentilla, who is celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday! Now, EJ's younger sister, Aya, is still in the process of finalizing her contract buyout from Cherry Tigo. Now, this is in contrast with other ex-crossover Buding Duremdes who had already debuted for Cignal last week. Now for our daily dose of sports lingo. Formula One cars' aerodynamic features are designed to utilize what is called the downforce. Downforce is like an invisible hand that pushes the car down onto the track for better grip and traction. It helps the car stick to the road, making it easier to control and handle, especially when maneuvering through corners. It's time for our off-court buzzer. In Houston's loss to Portland this week, Fred VanVleet was called for an offensive foul and the Rockets guard turned truly offensive as he verbally attacked and aggressively gestured towards the referees. This hostile reaction drew a technical foul and VanVleet was ejected from the game. He later justified his actions in a post-game media meet. While NBA fans expected at least a game suspension, the NBA announced that VanVleet is assessed a $50,000 fine for using profanity. No suspension for the disrespect towards the game officials, though. Now, NBA fans are baffled by the punishment and pointed out that LaMelo Ball was made to pay $100,000 for using a qualifying phrase that was deemed offensive to the LGBT community. Well, how about you? Do you think that perhaps he deserves a stiffer fine? That's the debate that's truly creating a buzz off the court now. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 26th of November. When we return, we have a lot to talk about with the awesome Chris Newsome. So watch out for that when we return here on The Scorecard. Our guest tonight is everywhere. He's in the PBA, in the EASL, in the Asia Cup qualifier windows. And with each iteration, he represents and does so with style. Please welcome, here in studio for The Scorecard, we have the awesome Chris Newsome. Chris, good evening. Thank you so much, man.
Good evening. Thank you
Welcome
for having
to
me.
BNC.
It's amazing to finally be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Great time to catch up. Bro,
Sure.
it seems like 2024 is your year. First time to become a PBA champion, first championship of Meralco, finals MVP, and then Gilas Pilipinas, recently qualifying for the FIBA Asia Cup in Saudi Arabia next year.
Yep.
And, pinaka-importante, you're engaged.
Yes,
You're
I
engaged
am.
to Cam.
Newly engaged, yes.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, Anton. Thank you.
Man, time flies. I remember like it was yesterday covering you playing for Ateneo. It was a Phil Oil game. You scored your first televised dunk. It was a two-handed dunk on the break for Ateneo. And now, everything you've accomplished, man, when you first came here to the Philippines, did you think that this is what you would get? Or like, how's the 2024 been for you?
Man, 2024 has been an amazing year. There's, like you said, there's been a lot that has happened over the course of this year, especially, Gilas, Meralco, my own personal life. There's so much that I'm grateful and blessed to have encountered. Did I imagine that it would end up like this all those years ago? Definitely not. But, of course, I'm enjoying the journey, and I think that's what's important, is just enjoying every step of the way and just never taking a moment for granted.
Man, with everything that you just mentioned and everything that I have read leading up to this interview, I don't know where to start. So I guess, why not we start with the most recent one, Gilas Pilipinas, since it's still fresh in everybody's mind. You hit a clutch three-pointer to put Gilas ahead 91-84 against New Zealand, who's ranked number 22 in the world. Pilipinas is ranked 34. So that pretty much booked our ticket to Saudi Arabia. What was going through your mind when we got that win?
Getting that win, it was a big win for Gilas because we've never beaten New Zealand. Actually, the last few times that we played New Zealand, we've gotten blown out. And so for us, it was about starting new. It's a fresh start for this Gilas program to be able to go out there and represent the country on our home turf and to be able to get that first win. It meant a lot for us. But of course, it wasn't just about that one game. We had 2 games here at home, and we can't take that win against New Zealand and then follow that up with a loss to Hong Kong. So it was really important to make sure we get both wins. But definitely we defended the home court and secured that spot in the Asia Cup next year.
Chris, when you look at the history of Gilas Pilipinas, so many iterations, so many coaching changes, so many lineup changes. Last year in the FIBA World Cup, you had an opportunity to be a part of it. Unfortunately, you were the last cut in the World Cup. Did you imagine last year, like, from that situation, this year, you would become a key cog and hit a big shot for Pilipinas?
I mean, all I know is that I can control what I can control, which is my performance, my effort, the work that I put in, day out. That's all I can really control. And whenever my name is called to represent the country, I got to make sure that I am at my best. So going back to last year's World Cup, of course I want to be a part of that team, but that just wasn't my time. And I think when things kind of got moved around and then my name got called for the Asian Games, I proved that I was ready for that moment and for just everything being at the international stage. Finally getting at that international stage and being able to represent the country was something I looked forward to for a long time. And to get an Asian Games gold medal at that was a very special moment. And I think all of that helped to build my confidence to what it is today. So going back to that New Zealand game, me hitting that shot, I think, you got to give credit to my teammates, the coaching staff. They all believed in me to take that shot. And, for me, that's just another shot that I've worked on thousands of times.
And we're going to get to another big shot of yours. I think you know what I'm alluding to. But I want to take it back to 2015. You were drafted by Meralco, number 4 overall. A lot of the players drafted in the top 5. Scotty Thompson was drafted number 5. Mo Taltua still playing in the PBA. You stuck it out with Meralco, 8 seasons, going on your 9th, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So what was it like, going through the ups and downs and just sticking with it until you guys finally won the championship to close out the Philippine Cup in the last season?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, it's about the journey. And, you're going to have those ups and downs throughout your career. Not everybody's going to have that perfect career where everything is just championships after championships. That's a very rare thing to do. So for me, it's actually learning from all those losses that has made me into the person that I am today. Going through those hardships of losing in the finals 4 straight times to Ginebra, those losses actually build character, and they allowed me to find out what it is that I actually need to do to continue to improve myself. And there's so much more that I had to work on in order for me to reach this level that I am at today. Would I be at this level with early success? I doubt it, because there tends to be some complacency once you have a little success early. And I think me not having that success early was all the motivation I needed to keep pushing and improving my skills and just keep getting better. And finally, I was able to get that breakthrough win for Meralco, of course, with that organization that drafted me. They believed in me since day one, and to be able to finally get that championship for them, it meant a lot, not just for me, but for all the employees of Meralco.
And I got goosebumps, I remember, during the time that you were giving out your speech after winning the finals MVP. It was like a Shaq moment when he said, "Can you dig it?" But what you said to the crowd was, "Do you believe?"
Yes, sir.
I'm getting chills just thinking about that moment. And I think that word "believe" encapsulates your whole story, because it's a story of having that self-belief that you can do what has never been done before. So when you gave out that speech, that message to the entire Meralco community, like, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Yeah, at that moment, it was a great time for me to reflect and kind of go back to all the hardships like we talked about, the losses in the finals. And there's so many times that, we've been heartbroken, and, sometimes you lose belief in what you do and who you are whenever you have so many hardships and so many failures. And that inner belief started with just us as the players. And then as we started to progress through that conference, you can see that belief starting to awaken in our fans and in all of our supporters. And at that final moment where we finally get to hold up that trophy and to see how many fans were in there that was supporting us, and to finally ask them, it's like, "Do you believe?" That was just such a moment, because I know for a fact that they all believed it, and you can see all the signs, and you can see that everybody was genuinely there and to support us. And even the San Miguel fans and the Ginebra fans, they all took the time to reach out to us and congratulate us, because they knew that we earned that one. And it was just great that we were able to do that. And like you said, belief is such a strong word, and it can take you to the highest of highs. And I think that's a really important lesson that we can learn both on and off the court, is continue to believe in yourself.
And it's crazy to think that the team that you beat had Junmar Fajardo in it, and when he hit that fadeaway three, falling down with perfect form, I thought, wait a minute, this team is unbeatable, but you guys pretty much did the impossible that night.
Yeah, Junmar, he hit that shot. It was unbelievable. He's not necessarily known for his three-point shooting, and that's probably the last person that you would think would hit that shot in that moment. But as they say, big-time players make big-time plays.
And he did just that. Chris, tomorrow is the start of a brand new conference in the PBA. Alan Durham, I was surprised that he announced his retirement after the Governor's Cup, Commissioner's Cup. Who's coming in as the import for Meralco? Tell us a little bit about him and your team.
Yeah, so we have Akil. He is going to be our import for this Commissioner's Cup. He is 6'9", long wingspan, athletic, very experienced internationally, has played in a lot of different countries, just recently came from the CBA in China, so he's known for his defense, and that's something that we take pride in at Meralco, is our defense. We have two all-defensive members, being myself and Cliff Hodge, and I think Akil fits our system perfectly. He's a team guy, great guy, both on and off the court, and I think he's going to do a lot of good things as we continue to build our chemistry with him.
Chris, since you won the championship, when you have meetings with Meralco and Coach Luigi Trillo, do you guys set a goal in the beginning? Like, okay, for this conference, we're gunning for the championship, or is it like that every year?
Oh, we're just trying to progress every single day, every single game that we have. With the schedule that we have at Meralco, it's pretty hectic right now, because we're essentially running two seasons all at one. We have a PBA season and the EASL season. So even though our PBA season ended, we still have EASL games. So that kind of blurs the lines a little bit. And when you have a schedule like that, it can kind of get confusing on what your goals really are, because you're running two tournaments at the same time. So I think Coach Luigi and Coach Ninad do a great job of conducting practices and encouraging us to just keep getting better every single day, and just focus on that day, and don't think too far ahead, or don't look in the past as well at our success that we just had. we got to maintain that hunger as we continue to move forward and progress.
Yeah, that's a crazy schedule. I remember when your sister Melissa guested here and she brought along Louis Brill, your teammate with Meralco. He was talking about the schedule, PBA and EASL. So just imagining that, man, much respect to you guys as professionals to go out and do what you do. Chris, let's come over here to the big board because I want you to talk us through one of the biggest shots ever in the history of the PBA. You know what I'm talking about. 78 all, 3.3 seconds remaining. Walk us through this.
Wow. I mean, this shot is something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. It's something that I feel like every kid dreams about. Going back into this shot and for context of what happened, like we talked about, Junmar Fajardo just hit a big shot on the other end. We get a timeout. There's 3 seconds left. We draw up a play, and Coach Nenad wanted to get me the ball somehow. And so, based off of where the ball was taken out of, Chris Banchero was our best passer that we felt. And actually, the play was for me to get to that spot, but Cliff was supposed to set a screen for me. Now, they did a top lock scheme, hence why Simon was on the top side of me to force me into the corner, which is actually not a bad strategy because that limits your options.
Yeah.
Now, for me, it was just about getting the ball, raising up, and just getting a clean look because it's a tie ball game at this moment. So even if I miss this shot, we're going into overtime. So I just wanted to give us a chance, get to a spot where I can get both feet down, raise up, get a clean look at the rim, let it fly, and just trust your memory.
In a recent interview, an article actually, you said that Michael Jordan is your GOAT. Is this your Michael Jordan fadeaway moment right here?
I would definitely say that's it. I mean, it's a game 6 to seal the championship, and man, that's basically just a walk-off right there. And for me at the time, I was just really just focused on the moment and not thinking about what if I miss or what if I make it. It's really just getting the ball, looking at the hoop, and doing something that I've done thousands and thousands of times. And, I was just blessed that it went in. And actually, I wanted to celebrate, but I couldn't because there's still time on the clock. There's still like, I actually thought the clock was going to run out.
Yeah.
But then once I looked up and saw there was still time on the clock, I was like, okay, now's not the time to celebrate. Let's head to the bench. We still got to stop. Even then, we're only up 2 points. So if they hit a 3, they win the game. And in basketball, anything can happen. So we're just blessed that we had this opportunity to play in the game 6 against, one of the most dominant PBA teams in history. And, they say if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And I definitely feel like we did that.
Definitely one of the biggest shot of your life, you would say?
I would definitely say so, yes.
Biggest shot in Meralco history and one of the biggest baskets in the history of the Philippine Basketball Association. I do have to ask you, Chris, though, saan ka ba mas kinabahan? Sa moment na to, nung tinira mo yan, or sa pag-propose mo kay Cam Lagmay?
I would definitely have to say I was more nervous during my proposal to my now fiance, Camille Lagmay.
Oh, there you guys are.
Yes, that's us.
Okay.
We've been dating for 76 months, actually, to the day of our proposal. And it's been a long time coming. We've known each other actually ever since I moved to the Philippines. And with our history and how we've been running our relationship, I felt like it was the right time to pop that question, and I am so happy that she said yes, and we're looking forward to all the adventures and just the future that we're going to have together, and just to keep on building and supporting one another. She's definitely my biggest supporter, and she has allowed me to do a lot of the things that I continue to do to this day.
Man, this is the moment right here.
Right there, yep.
11-11. So
Yeah.
obviously, since you wear jersey number 11, this was something you planned.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I definitely put some thought into this, and I definitely wanted to plan it. It goes a little farther than just my jersey number, but the number 11, for those that are into numerology, it's an angel number. It's a very spiritual number, and that's something that me and Cam actually align with is, things like that. And so I felt that that was the right day and the right time, being 11-11, to pop that question. And, she definitely appreciates the numerology aspect of it, and I think that also plays into how we're gonna memorize this and look back on it all these years from now. That's going to be a very special day and a very special time for both of us.
Man, looking at this, Chris and Cam all over the world, you are winning in life, on and off the court. And with that, I want to say congratulations.
Thank you, Anton.
Chris.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Cam as well. Chris, thank you so much for the time. Very generous of you to come here to BNC to talk about your story and to look back at the biggest moments of your life on and off the court.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to be able to share my story, and I hope I continue to inspire all those out there that look up to me.
Thank you very much, Chris Newsome. All the best.
Thank you, thank you.
When the scorecard returns, we're taking a closer look at 2 of tomorrow's NBA Cup games. Be sure to keep your eyes on the prize. Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. We'll break down the upcoming matchups to deliver key insights that might just give you the edge you need to stay ahead of the game. Tomorrow, November 27 at 8:30 a.m. Philippine time, Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida, will host the Emirates Cup game between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Miami Heat. The Milwaukee Bucks bring a record of 8-9 and will be looking to extend their 4-game winning streak. In their last game, the Bucks defeated the Charlotte Hornets 125-119 thanks to a strong performance by Giannis Antetokounmpo, who sunk in 32 points and grabbed 11 rebounds. Damian Lillard also contributed 31 points, showing why he's one of the best closers in the league. On the other hand, the Miami Heat entered this game with a record of 7-7, coming off a thrilling 123-118 overtime win against the Dallas Mavericks. Jimmy Butler was on fire, scoring 33 points to lead Miami to victory, while Bam Adebayo provided a strong presence in the paint with 19 points and 11 rebounds. The Miami Heat come in as the favorite, set at a -2-point spread, with Butler coming off a monster game and home court advantage, while the Bucks come in as underdogs at +2. But with their dynamic duo of Giannis and Lillard, they're always a threat to steal the game. The over-under for this game is set at 221.5, with both teams capable of putting up big numbers. This game promises to be a highly competitive matchup, with the Bucks relying on their rebounding and fast-paced offense, and the Heat banking on their defense and clutch playmaking from Butler. Can the Heat defend their home turf with Butler leading the charge, or will Giannis and Lillard keep the Bucks' winning streak alive in Miami? That we will find out tomorrow. Another game for the Emirates Cup is set at 9 a.m. Philippine time. Get ready for the clash between the Houston Rockets and the Minnesota Timberwolves live at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Houston Rockets bring a record of 12-6 and will be looking to bounce back after a tough 98-104 loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. Alperen Sengun had a strong 22-point performance, but Houston struggled with their shooting, making only 8 of 32 three-pointers. On the other hand, Minnesota Timberwolves, they enter this game with a record of 8-8, coming off a tough 105-107 loss to the Boston Celtics. It was a game filled with dramatic moments, and the Timberwolves showed great fight even after being down by as many as 19 points in the second half. Anthony Edwards was a beast for Minnesota, finishing with 28 points, while Julius Randle contributed 14 points in the first half. But it wasn't enough to overcome the Celtics' comeback effort. The Minnesota Timberwolves come in as the favorites, set at a -3-point spread, with Anthony Edwards' monster game and the Timberwolves' home court advantage, while the Rockets come in as underdogs at +3. But with their offensive firepower, including Jalen Green and Sengun, they are always capable of an upset. The over-under for this game is set at 220.5, as both teams can put up points in bunches. This game promises to be a thrilling affair, with two high-scoring teams looking to rebound after tough losses. The Timberwolves will be looking to contain Sengun and Jalen Green, while Edwards will look to lead Minnesota to victory. Can the Timberwolves win with Edwards leading the way, or will the Rockets bounce back with a strong offensive performance to claim the win in Minneapolis? Intense matchups indeed, and you wouldn't want to miss out on all the action. And that wraps up tonight's preview. Be sure to keep your eyes on the prize. So before we go, think on this. From Wilt Chamberlain, the only player to score 100 points in a single NBA game, he says, size is not the measure of a man's worth unless you are talking about the size of his heart. And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again here tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport, right here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening. Good night.